Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and especially you honored guests. This assignment, I was required to do a survey, answer a bunch of questions to determine what my personal coaching style is. I can tell you right now, it was not autocratic. That's not me. It wasn't bureaucratic. There are several styles, but the style that best fits me is coaching style. Why, you might ask? A coaching style is for someone who works with individuals to develop their skills for the future. A coaching style is someone that challenges his people. A coaching style is one where the coach is positive, I would say even magnanimous, in developing people in a positive way that lets them feel good about what they do. Now, the way I arrived at this style really goes back to my own background. When I was a young engineer, I first started with Motorola. And in my early days at Motorola, one day, the section manager, George Pettigrew, came to me and said, "I'm going to loan you out to another section. You'll be assigned to designing a power supply for the Navy. Now, I know you've never done this before, so feel free to call upon our power supply designer, Dwayne Hyatt, for advice." So sure enough, I started to develop my power supply, and I ran into a problem. So I went to Dwayne Hyatt and said, "Dwayne, George Pettigrew said I could call upon you for advice." And he goes, "Oh, he did he?" I said, "Yes, he did." I found out working with Dwayne, what I really needed to do was work most of the work myself, but then when I came to an obstacle, I would go to him and ask him a specific question. And he would give me the answer to that question, and I'd continue on until I hit another roadblock. And in doing that, I learned how to design power supplies. I developed some skills which stood me for the rest of my career, because I used them throughout. And even more than that, when my son Steven took engineering classes at Arizona State University, I was able to help him. Now, coaching style is something I've used in Toastmasters, but I want to share a different story with you because I teach Sunday school. My class is a bunch of boys, anywhere from kindergarten through second grade. And about a week and a half ago, I had a big class. It was 16. 2 of the boys were new. But one of the new boys was really hard to work with. His mother brought him in, and she had to coax him to even step inside the door. And he stepped inside the door, he was coaxed, and he wasn't about to move. He stood by the door. In fact, he sat down at the door. And I talked to him, I said, "Is there anything, do you like to color?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Well, I've got something here for you to color if you'd like." He didn't want to do it, sitting by the door. So a few minutes later, it was time to take the boys to another building where they would get their Bible lesson. So I said to him, "Talon, you're at the door, so you're first in line. Please stand up." And I had the other boys line up right behind him. We went next door to a building next door. And once they got there, the boys got to sit down, they got to watch a video, they got to sing and dance, they got a Bible lesson from one of the wonderful ladies in the church, and then it was time to go back. So I led them back, and now Talon was in a mood to sit down and color. He was working on his coloring, which was great. It was a picture of a scene from the Bible lesson. And finally, his mother, church service is over, and she comes to pick him up. And she comes to me and says, "When I dropped him off, he wouldn't step in the classroom. Now I can't get him to leave." And I remembered, you see, for the boys that had finished their coloring, I told them, you can try to play with this hockey stick. If you make a goal, you get a starburst. And several of the boys had done that. In fact, the pastor's kid kept wanting to do it over and over again. So it was a plastic puck not a real one, and this is actually a child-sized hockey stick. So I said, and I realized Talon hadn't done that yet. So I led him over, gave him the hockey stick, and he sets up, and his mother said, he plays ice hockey. So he swung the stick, sure enough, he made a goal, no problem. I gave him a starburst, and he took the starburst, and he and his mother walked out of the room very happy. Now on Sunday, he was back. Evidently the experience was good for him, and he learned a few things. And that's what effective coaching is about. It's about not just for kids, but it also works with adults. I've been working with people in Toastmasters where I'm a mentor, and I coach them a little bit, and they go off, and some of them are very prominent in the district. I'll throw out a name, Shelley Gabriel. She was a conference chair, and she's helping with the chair of the next conference. So she has that experience. So one of the very deep benefits from coaching people is developing them to the point where they can become coaches themselves. So I'd say the 3 P's of effective coaching are simply this: patience, persistence, and be prepared. If you do those 3 things, you'll enjoy working with people, you'll enjoy the benefits of seeing them succeed, and not just in reaching the goals, but in developing their own personal skills. Madam Toastmaster.